there's no way, in my opinion, that I could serve, let alone a wife, but also kids, while I play football. Right? That's one of the reasons why, like, I kind of structured it and pushed it towards the later part of my career, where my kids basically missed my playing career on purpose, though, because yes, it was great to have them in Philly, and they maybe slightly in the way back in the back of the head remember it, but they don't really, because they were so young.
No Free Lunch is presented by T. Rowe Price. The information provided on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial or legal advice. Always consult with a qualified financial and or legal professionals before making any legal or financial decisions or investments.
I'm Ndamukong Suh, and welcome to No Free Lunch, where we talk to experts and athletes about how the most successful people in sports manage their money and grow their wealth. Danny, what's going on, boss man?
Back here in New York. Once again, this
maybe your lovely city of New York, Big Apple.
Yeah, your maybe third or fourth home, my actual home. Wrapping up the year, man. Yeah. It's been a year. 2025 is coming to a close, and I think we got a lot of good feedback about your last solo episode after your retirement in the summer. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of want to talk about some of the biggest wins and learnings directly from the mind of Ndamukong Suh.
I love it, man. I'm excited to reflect. I think it's always positive to reflect on where you've been at in life. Something I will definitely do in the new year, especially when I'm on a little bit of a hiatus. But overall, let's jump into it right here on No Free Lunch.
So our last solo episode, you were once again talking about retirement. Your announcement was fresh. Really fresh. But I'm curious, what's one thing that you maybe underestimated now that you're about 6 months into officially retiring?
I think the one thing that I underestimated in regards to my retirement was how much of a curious mind I would become. I already have a massive curious mind to be in so many different places at so many different times, but it is literally gone on steroids.
Okay.
And normally you'd have the off season of pretty structured. So off season usually started, let's say, like at minimum March 1st. But it was a light start.
Mm-hmm. Training?
Yeah, training wise, exactly. And so from March 1st to really about OTAs ended beginning of June. So like you say, end of July, or mid July is about like usually when you move down to the city wherever I was playing within a week or two before camp started. So that nice little span of like 3 to 4 months.
Gotcha.
Now I've got the entire year. Yeah. I got 12 months to play, right? And we're sitting here in December right now. And I've honestly planned out as far as late March, early April right now.
Okay.
In a lot of ways of what I'm planning to do, whether speaking engagements, whether it's conferences. I was just invited to a conference last night.
Right.
Yeah. So, and this is one I typically try to go to, and now it's in a better location, so it'll probably be easier and close to a beach. So like, those are the things that like, for me, I underestimated like how many different ways I was going to be pulled.
Yeah.
And having to manage all of that.
Yeah. Cause you haven't played in a couple years. You think the official retirement, it was a hyper catalyst to all that?
The official retirement was like, I am literally no ounce of me wants to go back.
Right.
And no ounce of me will go back.
Okay.
And play football. The first year of not playing was like, I'm still training.
Okay.
And if the right call comes along, I'm gone.
Okay.
And the wife was cool with that. I was like, if you're not done, like, you're not done. You're fortunate enough to be in a situation where you can choose when you want to play and when you want to retire.
Yeah.
And so Obviously there was some family stuff that were transpiring with my dad and whatnot, or one of the main reasons why I didn't go back, as well as my kids. But ultimately, the right situation just wasn't there. I mean, got really close, especially not this last year, but the year before. And then last year, I mean, I still had opportunities, but I was like one toe in and 9 toes out. So, but when I officially retired, just kind of paying homage to my dad, I was like, yeah, I have no desire to play football, no desire to train anymore. Like, I'm not going to train as I'm going to be trying to go back to play football. I train now to stay fit, health and wellness. And like my challenge now is with my mother-in-law, who can walk the fastest mile. Okay. I'm at 16 minutes in 5 seconds. So what are you at? So it's like, that's how I look at it from that perspective. And like I get a total of probably 25 to 35 miles in a week.
Okay.
On average, taking calls, moving around, getting to job sites, different lengths. It's enjoyment, but it's also workouts. For me from that perspective.
What's the Ndamukong Suh walk shoe? Is there a go-to?
Walk shoe? Ooh. So I got these gold P6000 Nikes that I've been rocking for my training and my walks for the last probably year and a half. I don't know, I forgot where I was at. I think I was in Minnesota randomly, or I was in Minnesota for some family stuff because my wife was from there. The Rockets, which the big homie is a coach there, so we're seeing them and they're playing Minnesota, and some family friends that were there as well for the game. He had these dope P6000s. I was like, oh, I kind of like those. I might turn these into my workout shoes. So I've been rocking those, but I just switched up. Okay. So in the new year, I have a brand new pair of Nikes that are going to be my new walking and workout shoes. Specifically workout shoe. I mean walking shoes. So we'll see. I will have to do an episode on that one, or throw that in.
Yeah, New York. I need to know because in New York we're walking we're walking all over the place.
Yeah, so you gotta have a nice solid sole that can get you right.
Yeah, no, especially getting older. So going back to this past year, I know even me, a lower level college player, but even specifically professional guys, your schedule's set up for you, right? You know, to your point, OTAs, training camp is rinse and repeat, especially in season. So now that you have this time, how did you go about setting your schedule, and did it change as you've kind of refined it?
It's definitely changed, but not a drastic change. I'm still structured. I still get up in the mornings. I still work out. I set meetings, no different than I would do in the off season, from usually 8 to 1, 2 o'clock, depending on where I'm at, what I'm doing, time zone, things of that nature. And then I try and set the afternoon, especially when I'm home with my kids, to either take them to a job site with me to go check on some stuff, run around, play with some equipment, do some work from that perspective, or just spend time with my kids. And whether it's going on a play date, running some errands with them, just spending time with them, because I think that's something that is important, especially as I've seen older friends and family members that are family friends that have kids that are 13, 14, 15, leaving for high school or leaving for college, and like the most time you spend with your kids is in them below. Yeah. And the closer they get to 18, the less they want to be around you. So my kids want to be on my hips. Like you saw, I just got off the phone for FaceTime with them. I was like, Dad, just showing me this record player they just found in my wife's office and stuff like that. So it's like enjoying those moments and those times and trying to be as much as possible present.
And I want to speak to how important that is maybe for players, right? That might be struggling in that way where they might not. I think you said something last night, we were at dinner, about some guys just want to be the best football player in the world, and that's it. They're not always in business. How important was that for you in your transition?
Yeah, I'm going to answer this in 2 ways, because one, I was wired that way to be the best athlete as possible during my playing days. And a big part of that was being selfish. There's no way, in my opinion, that I could serve, let alone a wife, but also kids, why I don't play football. Right? That's one of the reasons why like I kind of structured it and pushed it towards the later part of my career where my kids basically missed my playing career on purpose though, because yes, it was great to have them in Philly and they maybe slightly in the way back in the back of the head remember it, but they don't really because they were so young. Yeah. And I knew I could still focus on my craft and it wasn't affecting my relationship with them. If I was playing football right now and they're 4.5 and I'm gone all day and I'm tired, I don't want to spend time. I don't want to throw the football. I don't want to go this. I don't want to do these other things. And I just came home from a loss. I'm in a bad mood or whatever it is. Like that's detrimental to our relationship. So I didn't want to go through that. And so that's also something that I think transitioning a little bit of like understanding like guys and girls want to be the best in their sport and rightfully so, but you also have to broaden your horizons because sport is not always going to be there. Yep, I was fortunate to play 13 years. The average career of the NFL is 2.5, maybe 3 years and you're lucky. So when you look at that perspective, like honestly, an uncle of mine said, be selfish in your 20s. And I was selfish as hell for my 20s. And it served me right for what I wanted to accomplish.
That is a real specific call out because the kids kind of might see pictures of you playing and I'm sure even as they grow up, their friends might know who you are. Yeah, but they're like, that's his dad. You know what?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah. I mean, you look at it from this perspective. I was sitting at the table at a dinner in Montgomery, Alabama the other day. I was with an old teammate, Jermon Bushrod, and Jamal Charles, great running back from Texas, played in the league as well. And we were sitting there. We all got kids from ranging from as young as 3 up to like 13. I think Jermon's oldest is 13, if I'm not mistaken. And having those conversations about those kids don't realize how much of a superstar their dad was. Right. And Jamon, he was a Super Bowl champion. He was the blind side for Drew Brees, and Jamal Charles was a superstar running back, especially in college and let alone in the pros. Not as much in the pros because he was hurt later on in his career, but like just elite. We were talking about our kids look at us like, who are you? Like, why would I listen to you about working out or doing anything? You're just dad. So like those things is very interesting to see how your kids respond to you, which is, I think is good. You don't want them to have that notion of like you're all world or anything. They want you want to be able to have that relationship with them from that perspective. And so for me, ultimately, like I want, and I tell my performance director all this time, is like, I need you to hold out, not stop working and working on your craft for at least another 20 plus years to make sure my kids are, because they're not going to listen to me. Yeah. They already don't listen to me half the time now. So
I love that. Let's get into some business. So, you're in tech, AI, real estate, consumer goods, all this stuff. Flipping one of your questions back onto you. What would you say is your biggest win this year? Whether it be a category or a specific company that you're invested in or a business venture?
My biggest win in this year, I don't know if I have one. And I say that in all transparency from a perspective of like, I think this year's been about building a foundation and recalibrating a lot of things that I want to do and refocus. And I see that as a win. I don't see that as anything other than progressing towards more success. Right. But I mentioned this to Berna the other day, and just like recalibrating how I look at debt, recalibrating how I look at cash flow, recalibrating on how I look at just generally what I want to be focused and interested in. I was just on a car ride with somebody over here, a close friend of mine of who's getting in the VC world. I'm super proud of him because like Karan, like, I mean, he like when I remember we were flying back to Portland on a jet, Hawker 800. He was like, man, I'm coming back to work out. He was excited to do all these different things. But then like I asked him, like, what do you want to do in when your playing career is done? He was like, man, I just want to go back to the Bronx and have basically a Boys and Girls Club. Okay. I was like, all right, that's cool. I mean, I respect that. And that there's always a place in this world to do that. But that's kind of where he just stopped. And I was like, why nothing more? Why no? And we brought that conversation back up during this car ride coming up here. And he was like, man, I just didn't have the experience. I wasn't exposed to anything to know different.
Mm-hmm.
This man just got his MBA, just got a 3-year deal, 6-figure contract to work for this great company. And I think he's going to be one of the next best VC supporters from the perspective of like analyzing deals. And he's very analytical, very smart dude, went to Princeton for undergrad, like just really in Columbia for grad and whatnot. So like just that evolution of him having exposure and not being around me, but being around, just exposed to so many different things in life, like how much things change.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like that, the exposure part of it. Because sometimes we just don't know. We know, and then we get in certain rooms. Even like I said, even being in the room with you last night, it was interesting to see how, for the listeners, we were at a dinner last night, and how you connected with people and how people had admiration for you. But I felt you had a really good way of disarming that admiration to like level the playing field to like, and then also you asked questions to push back on like a specific topic. Yeah. And that was, to me, was hilarious. No, not that you were being mean about it, but you were asking a question that was a real question that sometimes people at those higher positions don't have to face.
Yes.
You know, the bureaucracy of an organization or a thing allows them to say, yes, this is why we do this thing.
But the gentleman that was sitting next to me, who was the COO of that company, he said it perfectly.
Yeah.
We're stuck in our way.
Exactly.
And we live in this box. We're highly regulated, and we don't have any other choice until we get comfortable enough to break the mold, and our clientele are forcing us to do that.
Yeah.
And it takes not only days, months, years, but decades to get that done. Yeah. Which is incredible, especially in this age of how fast AI and technology and all these different things move. Like, why is that the case in the system? And especially when you have other companies, and we're talking about finance, so you have fintech companies that can change in a month.
Yeah, exactly.
Change in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Break things. Yeah, be disruptive.
Yeah, exactly. So why can't these bigger, larger organizations do that same thing? And so until they're, for lack of better words, forced to.
Exactly.
Because then they start losing massive revenue because the fintech companies and whatnot start to grow. But it's super interesting. And like, I think a lot of people, you said it very kindly of saying like, ultimately they would look at me, I'm being brash and I'm pushing back. But no, it's a curious question.
Right. Yeah.
Like, truthfully, explain to me why it operates this way.
Huh?
Because I'm up here, for lack of better words, or everybody looks at me up here. There's a lot of people in between.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Are capable. Yeah. But have much less that should be able to be afforded the same thing. It just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. And like, why are we in this position? So it was a good conversation. I love that dinner. That dinner was amazing. We got to do more of those, right? And we got to crack open some good wine. You saw them wine bottles I was looking at.
Yeah. Athletic. Yeah, we need the budget for some good wine.
At T. Rowe Price, their experience helps them see investment potential differently. Instead of quick answers, they know that what really leads to confident investing is true curiosity, which is why they ask smart questions, just like us. Like how healthcare innovation creates a healthier world, or how will AI be a part of a new tomorrow? Great questions for a deep dive. At T. Rowe Price, their curiosity runs deep so you can invest more confidently. Better questions, better outcomes. T. Rowe Price. Learn more at troprice.com/curiosity.
What was the hardest skill you had to learn this year? If there is one.
Hardest skill?
Yeah.
I think this will always be the hardest skill to master, which is patience. Patience is one of those things in life that, especially being an athlete and wanting instant gratification, and we live in the world of instant gratification. If we don't get this sack, we don't make this play, we don't do something, one, you're seen as a failure. Two, you go down the dumps. And three, you may lose your job. So instant gratification in the sports world but not understanding that you need to, it's important in that space, but it's also having patience in that space in an outside world are very, very key.
Yeah.
And I think patience for me is something I always want to work on and continue to master as much as possible. So yeah, I'd say patience.
Yeah, it's a different pace that you're living in right now. It's an interesting time to even observe it. We've had a lot of great conversations on this podcast. We, had Jameis unknowingly right before the week before he was, starting. We've had, Dan Lebatard, Candace Parker. Is there a favorite moment maybe that you could think about, or even like most impactful moment in this past, I guess, 6 or 7 months of recording the pod?
I would say some of the most impactful moments are the conversations that I have because of this podcast. For example, I think I've said it before, but like my brother and big brother at that, Dominic Rael, they're reaching out to me and saying, when I listen to your podcasts, like I need you to help and support me and my son and help our detectives when it comes to watching the episode with Carlton Dennis. And like what we need to do to, like, we're not in a bad situation, but we can definitely tighten up.
Yeah.
And the conversations that the podcast has facilitated outside of these walls, for lack of a better word, has been something that I take great pride in. And the awareness when it comes to empowerment, financial literacy, all these particular pieces, and people to feeling like they can start to grasp an understanding of being able to get somewhere, and really implementation, man. That's the big thing that I've been wanting to impose on folks, to not be afraid to implement some of the things that you're learning on this podcast or you're being educated on from these experts.
Yeah. I love the implementation part. I think there's so much information.
Yeah.
There's not always that button to be like, now to go take action on it. Last question for the episode. What is Ndamukong Suh most proud of this year?
What am I most proud of this year? No free lunch. Let's start there.
Yeah.
I think it's been an incredible start. And I'm excited to what we've been able to build to date and ultimately where we're going. I think we're going to some special places. I think we're opening up a lot of eyes and ears and doors. But I'm also proud of the ability to come out of my shell a little more. I think that's where you truthfully, if people saying like, man, I never really thought about you in this nature, and in this space, because I'm such an introvert. And it's somewhat of a cop out, and it's not really a cop out because I naturally love to be by myself. Like being at this amazing dinner, it's draining for me though. Sure. At the same time. Where a lot of people, I look at a friend of mine, Deontay, and he like salivates about being around people and having people in this space. Yeah. Where I'm the opposite.
I'm similar. Yeah.
Like I don't like people in my space unless I'm been prepared for. I prepared myself for saying, all right, I want to go out tonight, or I want to have 30 people at my house or 15 people at that. Which, if you know me, that's not happening. Like, all right, we may have like 2 or 3 or 4 of the homies watch football or whatever. Couples come over, we drink wine, do whatever it is. Or like, and most people that come over to my house, you're not a guest, you're family. So just tell me you're pulling up and you pull up. So it's like, it's different from that perspective. But I do enjoy interacting with people and having conversations. Like, I mean, dinners are fun and exciting. I love eating food and doing it, but for whatever reason, it drains me out. I'm tired after it.
Yeah.
So
that's the definition of it being an introvert or extrovert. It gives you energy. And I think it's okay to, for me at least, even myself, acknowledge that. And then that prepares you more to be like, all right, this is a little bit draining. So maybe I need to get a little more sleep. I need to drink a cup of coffee, whatever it is to get my mind right. But yeah, I'm, as producing the show with you, I'm excited about what we've done so far and what we're going in the future. And I'm most proud of us being able to be nimble too. We record literally all over the world. So just the logistics of executing that's been cool, and the different guests we've been able to get, and the guests we'll get moving forward will be even more dope.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm excited about it. Let's go right here on No Free Lunch, boss.
It's time for the Confidently Curious question, where we ask questions that are one step ahead. Sponsored by Piro, where they believe that asking better questions can lead to better outcomes. So my Confidently Curious question of the day is, what has the single most impact on individuals' credit score? Ooh, I love this. A, net worth. B, payment history. C, age. The answer is B, payment history. Payment history makes up roughly about 35% of your FICO score. Again, history is important. Your payment history is important. That's our Confidently Curious question for the week. Thanks to our sponsor, Piro, for modeling the power of better questions.
Piro proudly sponsors No Free Lunch. The views expressed in this podcast are those of the podcast participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Piro. Their sponsorship supports the platform and does not imply endorsement of specific content or perspectives. Well, that's our episode. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to No Free Lunch on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. Well, I'm coming to see you.